Right, all, welcome to the Wor Lasses Show, 8 p.m. Tuesday evening, bringing you the latest and greatest Newcastle United women's news. And of course, we will be doing the review of Sunday's match as well. Thank you to everybody who has tippled over and joined us from the earlier news show that Paul and I did from 7 p.m. If you missed that, go and watch it because it was good. I enjoyed that actually. I was a little bit rusty. You know, she's had 2 weeks off work and that, but yeah, I was doing okay. But before we get into everything tonight, as ever, the hygiene factors, folks, you know the drill. Drop the lass a like, please, nice and early. It helps in the search algorithm to find Newcastle United women's fans just like yourself. All that search, blah, 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 algorithm, blah, stuff. Get in the chat. I'm here by myself this evening. I'm on me Todd, so keep us company. I'll be going through lots of chats tonight, and I want, you know, opinions. Let's get into some debate here because there's lots of spicy subjects to talk about. Ring your bell. All your TTR content, you get a little notification every time we go live to let you know that we're having a show, that you can get in the chat and get involved with us as well, rather than watching it on record. And a big thank you to channel sponsor Mamaroo Records. I'm a big vinyl fan myself, so I love that we're sponsored by Mamaroo Records. So do drop them your support. Local business in Whitley Bay. Get yourself down there. They do all sorts of discounts for TTR viewers if you let them know as well. So do go down and check it out. I see everybody's saying hello in the chat, which is very nice. Robert D making a comment there about my wine glass. It's not with me, this evening. She's behaving herself. So yeah, but bear with me. You probably want me a bit more compass mentis tonight, actually, because I've been off for a fortnight and I was making loads of blunders, more than any Aluko. Speaking of, let's get into some general news. So I've just been having a rant about this, but I think it particularly pertains, obviously, to fans of women's football. This is really irks me for so many reasons. I'm sorry if I'm repeating myself. If you just heard me having a bit of a rant about this one. So if you don't know Annie Aluko, you may have seen her being a pundit on some of the men's games, ironically, and obviously in women's games as well. Ex football player, and you know she makes the news and the headlines for a lot of the wrong reasons, can I say. And the latest and greatest terrible thing that she's done is made a comment about Ian Wright. Now, if you follow women's football at all, you will know that Ian Wright is an advocate, an ally. He's outspoken. He actively supports. He's got a podcast with Steph Houghton, you know, talking specifically about the women's game, Super League. He pays monthly. Kaylee McDonald, I believe she played for Stoke. She had got an ACL injury. He actually pays to support her on a monthly basis out of his own money, raises awareness when he does speeches, all of that sort of stuff as well, and then actually keeps in with the men's game as well. So he's such an advocate and an ally for women's football. And essentially, Annie has come out to say, do you know what? He's taking up space. There's not an infinite amount of jobs in punditry, and we have a man, Ian Wright, taking up one of those places. This is absolutely baffling to me. Being a woman who, you know, I don't get paid to do this. I do this because I absolutely love it. I love this club. I love interacting with all of you. But she gets paid for her opinions on football, on her analysis, to critique, to be a spokesperson for women in the game, to be a role model, more specifically, which is, you know, mind-blowing for me. And I've said this numerous times. I said this on the previous show. I am very anti-tokenism in football. It has to be down to the right people get the job. And just because you're an ex-player does not afford you the privilege, the luxury to have a paid platform to do what you do in front of the cameras. she's made multiple mistakes that I've observed. You can go and watch all of these online as well, by the way. She misnames players continuously, contradicts her own analysis, whether that's to soften her opinion because she's not confident enough. I have got no idea. But for me, it's driving me nuts. And I think what I really like about this, and I did, this lass loves a visual. Ian Wright has actually said, I can't accept the apology. I'm not going to accept it. And good for him. Absolutely good for him. Because I think so often all this wokeism now, it's getting absolutely ridiculous. We have to all play by the rules and not say the wrong thing and not have the wrong opinion. And I'm probably being contradictory there because she's allowed her opinion, but her opinion's not making any sense in the logic and context in which she's delivered it, which is why I'm calling it out essentially. And it's angered a lot of people online, not just me. And I'm keen to see what other people actually think about this as well. I can see Carl. Hey there, Carl. Should be given to the best person who gets the job. End of story. Yes, couldn't agree more with that. It's just really shocking to me to put down somebody who's done so much for women in the game. Ian actually spoke in a message online. You can actually go and watch that on his Instagram page, and put out a message to say she's spoken to me before, management before, and he actually seemed taken back and frankly shocked by the comments. He's just been so brilliant for the women's game, and he actually speaks to say that it's not about him, it's about a collective. It's going to take everybody to fix it. And you know what that means? That means that we need male allies to help. Like, equally so, if the shoe was on the other foot, that means that you're going to be turning down jobs commentating and being a pundit on the men's games. Is that right, Annie? Absolutely not. There's no chance that would happen. I just think it's really getting to a crazy point now. But for me, why I'm taking such umbrage with it is because the comments make women in football look stupid. It really does. It's reaffirming opinions like, chauvinist pigs, Joey Barton. It's giving them fuel to the fire. And I said this earlier as well, and I'm sorry if I am repeating myself. I do apologize, but like, I have gotten so much stick, from Instagram, people who like will literally seek me out just to give me shit because I'm a woman talking about football. Paul losing subscribers because I'm just on the show and present, giving an opinion. Absolutely ridiculous. So don't get me wrong, women do need to be careful. Trying to break through and talk about football, or even just doing what I do. This is a hobby for me because I love it so much. But that it might sound archaic, but that's just the reality. Women do need to be more careful because we're going to be criticized more. We're going to be called out more when we make mistakes, because that's just where we are. But that's why we need male allies like Ian Wright. It's just that the logic in this is it's just driving me insane. So I'm going to get in the comments now because I'm really keen to understand what people think. Look, me dad's in the chat. For those of you who don't know, Ian Bradley, that's me dad. Hi, Dad. Lady Sam, Ian Wright was an amazing player and a credible pundit for women's football. Yes, absolutely agree with that. Tommy Robinson. Part that gets me the most is she was having a go at the strongest male advocate in the WSL. It's a joke. She isn't seeing again. Yeah, absolutely with that one as well. Mark Randall, we are going to be getting on to that, so bear with me. We've got Chris at Evermore. Hey, Chris. That's ridiculous, Sam. You speak brilliantly about the game. I'd rather listen to you or Alice than Aluko any day of the week. Trolls are gonna troll regardless. Absolutely. But thank you for the tip of the cap. I really appreciate that, mate. So I'm going to move on to some news, the general news, as we always do here on the Lasses Show. Now, moving away from that ridiculous woman and her crazy, crazy comments. Sheffield United, folks, have been relegated from the Championship. They're going to be going into the League North for the first time since 2015. I believe it is. Please, somebody fact check if that's not right, but I'm pretty sure it's 2015. Remarkably, and this is what I'm scratching my head at, and if you follow the Championship, you will know Portsmouth staying up and will, as ever, go through the table at the end of the show as well. But they had an absolute stinker at the start of the season. Like, their goal difference was horrendous. I think it was like -30 at one point. So for Portsmouth to be declared safe, wow, that was a real shocker for me. And I think that the really nice news is not only Portsmouth is safe, we're safe. Like, what Portsmouth and Newcastle United, we both came up at the same time. So great news to actually see new teams breaking in there. But again, with it being, such a condensed league with so few teams there, there's going to be a great deal of fluctuation. But it's really nice to see some of the new teams, especially us, staying up there. So well done to Sheffield United. We have also got some news about Crystal Palace. If you follow the Women's Super League or the Championship last season, Crystal Palace were the team who went up last season. Yes, in the Championship, only one team can go up per season. Crystal Palace did that, and now they're coming back down again. Real shame. And Aran and I are going to do a special, very special end of season show, perhaps with some guests. Not going to tell you too much about that. Going to keep you hanging, edge you a little bit. But yeah, they're going to be coming back down again, and they're heavily recruited, obviously, to up the ante for going into the Women's Super League. So that's going to be really interesting to see them coming back down, competing alongside us and the other teams as well. So watch this space for that one. We'll probably go into a deeper dive on that on the end of season show. Next bit of news we've got for you is Arsenal women have made the Champions League final for the first time. 2006-7 it might be, since they last got there, beating Lyon. When I was away on my little holiday, my 2-week break, I did have the pleasure of going down to London and meeting some fabulous fans. Hello, Auntie Brenda, if you are watching, and the family, 3 generations. That was 3 in one pub. Absolutely great crack. We watched the women's final there, which was brilliant. This is good for English women's football, to have any sort of our representation in the Champions League. So good on them. And I actually really like what Arsenal women do. I like the club, I like the mentality, and I like what they do for women's football generally. They seem to have the right sort of secret sauce that we should look to emulate. So yeah, really pleased for them on that point. Moving on to Newcastle news. Yes, folks, very, very sad, but I did love this photo. Grace Donnelly, we are sending a fond, very fond farewell to Grace. 8 years, 140 appearances, and now our all-time record appearance maker. Absolutely brilliant career that she's had with Newcastle. Fantastic send-off she got as well. She's also got our own dedicated flag from the Wor Flags. I believe that you can still buy that from the Wor Flags as well. Sometimes if you do get down to the women's matches, they do tend to sell them in the little shop there as well. So check those out. But yeah, really sad to see that she's leaving the team. If I'm going to be completely honest, I was really surprised that she stayed on last season. And before anybody starts, she's meant to be an absolutely fabulous person. I haven't had the pleasure of meeting her myself, but ultimately she hasn't been getting the game time. We signed Claudia Moan when we got promoted into the Championship. Excellent signing from Sunderland. Our second, Hawkins, second choice keeper. Again, very rarely gets any minutes, like wheeled out when needed during like sort of like cup ties and things like that. But very much a second choice that we may need to strengthen as well. She's just recently become a new mum. Not saying that she can't do both, by the way, before anybody jumps onto that one. But lots of priorities, and she doesn't get the minute time as well. So I think it's probably the right time to say goodbye to Grace. Wish her the best of luck in her career as well. And I'd probably like to see her in some type of coaching role. You know, she's been with this club for 8 years. You know, through the back-to-back promotions, through everything that we've gone to, voice in the dressing room. You know, Becky Langley spoke extremely highly of her as well. So yeah, it's just really, you know, a fond farewell and thank you very much for your service. Grace Donnelly, absolute legend. Lawrence there, glad I got an autograph of the players on Sunday. Really nice, mate. Yeah, I think all the lasses are really happy to stick around and sign autographs and say hello to fans, which is lovely. We've got a comment from Mike French here. Great news that Portsmouth stay up. I live 10 miles from Havant, Pompey's home ground. So I will get to see the lasses next season as well. That is awesome, mate. Yes, do check us out when we come and visit that way. We do have some more Newcastle news there. And I don't know whether this just is relevant to the women's team. I think I don't know whether it might be the men's team as well. Colette Roche. I don't know if this has been spoken about on Paul's men's channel when I've been off or anything. Colette is currently the Man U Chief Operating Officer. Apparently, she's applied for a role as the CEO at Newcastle United. Now, because I'm like an absolute loser, I stalk Newcastle United on LinkedIn, and they've had continuous recruitment going on for a great deal of time now. And one of those jobs was for like CEO, director of women's football. So I haven't heard anything about this, but it's just very interesting that we've had a role advertised for director of women's football. We've now got reports saying that Charlotte Roche from Man United has applied for a CEO role. It's obviously a very different role. It could be the likes of, you know, Darren Eales' job. We don't know, but one to watch out for nevertheless. But either way, Newcastle United are looking for a new director of women's football. So watch out for that one. Final bit of Newcastle United women's news before I get into an evaluation of Sunday's match. It was great to see Poppy Pritchard making an appearance. I don't know if people saw when we actually signed Poppy. She looks really promising. First game, you know, very little time to tell what a player is going to be like, but actually you could really quickly see the sparks in her game. The quality was absolutely there as well. I think as far as I'm aware, she was signed on a loan. So it's not really a great deal of time for us to actually get to know what she's like if we have the option to sign up permanently or anything. But she spoke about how fantastic it is to get back on the pitch finally. She looked fantastic before she got injured. So hopefully for the last game of the season, we will get to see Poppy making another appearance, and who knows, maybe she will stay on with us for next season. What I am going to go on to now is to show you our starting 11 for the match that took place on Sunday. Birmingham City is who the opposition was, and I was quite satisfied with that starting 11. I often feel that, you know, when we put Hales in straight away, then we're going for goals. We absolutely want the 3 points, and we don't want to sit back and park the bus. Greenwood in that lineup as well. Furness, who we'll obviously be talking a little bit more about as well, and obviously Murphy and Lumsden, my top players. really great there to see Stokes getting the captain's armband. I'm a huge fan of Stokes, and I'll sort of go into my analysis of why in a moment. For me, it was a really interesting match. Please get in the comments, let me know your thoughts on the match as well. And if you haven't already, please do drop me a like. But first off the bat, I mean, over 4,000 in attendance at Kingston Park. A game that ended 1-1. And interestingly enough, Furness, that was her previous team. So there you go. We signed her from Birmingham City. Aren't we glad we did? Because she contributed to the scoreline, which we really needed. Extra point in the bag, so that really helped us out. The first thing off the bat is Gregory got a head injury quite early into the opening minutes of this. She was absolutely fine, by the way, but obligatory had to go off for the 30 seconds or whatever. But I thought that Birmingham City really picked up on the attack straight away. It seemed like there was no break in sort of momentum that they had. Really early pressure from them onto our defense. But what I will say though is I think that we performed really well, not just in the first half, but throughout the game actually. Somebody that particularly impressed me was Murphy. Again, one of our latest signings, Ireland international now as well. Really threatening. Always attempting to go through the middle. You know, she also gets corners in there as well, which is a real benefit for us, that she's able to do like a lot on the pitch, on the ball. Positionally, she's really great as well. So yeah, really happy with what Murphy was able to produce. I did say that I wanted to talk a little bit about Stokes' performance there. Lovely bit of early play, and I'm pretty sure this was in like the first 15 minutes. It started with Stokes intercepting the ball. Furness was there right next to her, bullying to get on the ball as well, which was great. So this is what I've noticed throughout the season, actually. Often when we go for a player, rather than going one-on-one, we've always got a player in the peripheral, like ready to take on or mop up. And it was played out perfectly for this play. And it allowed Gregory, who I thought was player of the match actually, to go on an absolutely fantastic, like Speedy Gonzalez like run down the left. She did play to Joel, unfortunately, didn't have enough power on it, who missed, but I was really happy with how the game initially started. I am gonna pop into the comments, see how people are feeling about the start of the match. What we got? Peter, hey Peter, how you doing? Great to see Poppy playing. Yes, Poppy did get some minutes, which I was very happy with as well. Trevor McDonald, hey Trev, how you doing? Finishing above Sunderland has made my season. Yeah, nobody can deny that much. So yeah, so I'll go back into the sort of summary again. Like I said, please do get into the chat. I sort of want to know your feelings. Let's talk about the first half, and then we'll sort of pause a little bit and get some comments in. We'll go on to the second half. I'm noticing now that Stokes and Gregory are making really nice link-ups together. I'm hoping that other people are sort of seeing that as well. But we seemed really up for it. I think we started really well, and it was a pretty end-to-end game. It looked like either side could score at any time, but I will say I think we took the lion's share of the threat in the first half. I do think we deserved more than one goal, and I've been saying this all season. Aran's alluded to it as well. Like, clinicalness in front of goal is something that we do need to get better at. You know, we do have Hales. You know, she's I believe she's the top scorer of the season. Not just for us at Newcastle, like in the whole league. She's been doing fantastically well. So I think that you know, adding Murphy into that, Lumsden as well, it's just going to up our chances. But I do believe that we still should be converting more than we actually are at the moment. We had, you know, we had at least 3 attempts within the opening 15 minutes. You know, Gregory, for me, I think she looks great. exactly what it said on the tin when when she was brought in and when she was signed. Real attacking prowess. She takes on defenders really well. It doesn't wait to do it either, literally straight out the gates. Really good addition to the squad as well. What I particularly like is that strength and balance on the ball. She's got absolutely no fear to take on anybody, but she can actually keep the ball in those moments as well. Furness, what can I say about Furness in the first half? So Furness, I believe, had a long range shot, which was just wide, unfortunately, but recycled the ball well. I think it got back to Joel. We know that Joel's got it in our locker to do something, but it seemed like she was lacking a little bit of power for me. Shot on target, but straight to the keeper. There was literally no curl on it or anything like that, and just a bit sort of lackluster. And that's what I felt about Joel throughout the match, actually. Getting in the right places positionally. Were there opportunities to maybe pass it to somebody else? Potentially, split second decision making, Welsh international now. So yeah, a bit disappointed with Joel's performances, but yeah, just couldn't find the back of the net, unfortunately. Lumsden, as ever, my goodness, like, she has our Weetabix every Sunday, this lass, like, takes on a beauty on her left foot, and it just went over the right bar, the top bar, unfortunately. But it was so close. In about, I'd probably say about 25, 30 minutes, Birmingham looked a bit more threatening for me. And I thought that Stokes had to do a lot more mopping up of the ball. We got a bit sloppy and sort of lost our concentration a little bit here. We did see Cooper coming into the game a little bit, which was good. I think I slated Cooper when she first came. Hands up, I will always put my hands up and say if I'm wrong. But I think she's been fantastic. Cooper getting in with Greenwood as well. Greenwood managed to make a good block, defended well. Not as busy as Cooper, but I think during the matches made 2 blocks and clearances, which will absolutely take to get the point and keep us safe. We had the headed in by McGill, 26 minutes. That was the goal. That was the sort of opening goal of the match, unfortunately. And I think for me, we just sort of turned off a little bit. There was an offside shout made, totally against run of play. I don't know how anybody else feels about that opening goal from Birmingham. But I think we looked so much more threatening. We looked like the better side. So for me, it wasn't offside. I think, you play to the whistle. The Bobby basics, you play to the whistle. I think we really just switched off at the time, which was really disappointing, and obviously we got punished for that. Somebody I do want to call out, and I want to get some thoughts on this one, because this lass is a bit controversial. That's me, not the player I'm about to name, by the way. Wardlaw, bit of a passenger. Like, first half, I might not be seeing something. She could be phenomenal off the ball. She could have been playing marking, and I've just not noticed it. Fair. But, this was meant to be like the star signing of the season. Gregory's been the star signing of the season for me. Murphy, my goodness, gosh, like, unbelievable. Wardlaw, I don't think is sort of hit the stride yet. So looking for some thoughts on Wardlaw. I just don't think she was getting in to the match very much. Like, I noticed that in the second half and just thought, oh yeah, forgot you were there. Like, that's not really good enough for me. So yeah, it was really interesting first half for me. I think Gregory. I think there was some link-up play between Murphy and Gregory at one point, and Gregory stormed in and just knocked the Birmingham City defender off the ball. It was absolutely brilliant. You sort of look at her and don't think that she's capable of that. Like, I see her as just like a pacey winger. Absolutely not. She's got so much strength and balance to back it up with. We keep saying this, like, we've got plays forward, but just like we're just not finishing those chances. but she's creating for us. She is really creating chances for us. We just need to get tidier with that. Even though we scored and conceded, we didn't drop our heads. I found that there was a lot of belief still in that side that we could go and win it. Equally so, Birmingham got momentum after the goal as well. So it probably came at like quite a decent time. It would have been even better if we could have gone on and scored one in the first half. I think that would have really kicked us up a notch, made us up the ante and give us some confidence, more confidence going into the second half. But yeah, Birmingham looked a bit frightening. So I was sort of glad to see the halftime whistle arrive. Now, I am going to get into the chat now. Let's have a look at what folks have been saying. Choppy, is it just you tonight? Yes, unfortunately, my friend Aran will be back with me soon. She's not ditched me forever. I hope not. Anyway, maybe. Trevor McDonald, yeah, a few more wins that were draws and would have been trying for promotion. Scoring was the problem this season. Yes, absolutely. You know, certainly for me, you know, I think maybe 5 matches into the season, you know, getting draws which we should have been winning. Oh my goodness. And you know what? We'll reflect back on this. We're going to do like an end of season special, but I could not agree more with this statement. Sometimes when we've had draws, even losses to some extent, where we should have been winning and capitalizing when we've looked like the better team. But it's this like this niggle of scoring. This is the golden thread which has continued to hold us back a little bit. And my personal opinion on it, this is like a transition season for me, Trev. This is a time of let's feel it out. Let's see what the terrain's like in terms of the competition, what's happening. You know, the fitness level that worked massively to our advantage last season because we were a full-time team. We need to remember that, and we ran away with the league. We did great. And then now that we're in the championship, more clubs are actually full-time or part-time at the very least. That plays into it. We've got to be switched on for the full 90, whereas previously, my opinion last season, because of our fitness levels, we were able to turn up the volume in the second half. We've got to be more consistent during the entire game now. It does not stop us from not scoring, though. So, yeah, that continues to be an interesting one. We have got Matt Lewis here. Hey, Matt, how you doing? We played well against Birmingham Sunday. 4 points to get against them next season. Hopefully that helps us with psychological if we get in the title race next season. Yeah, as I've just said, Matt, I think we'll definitely be contenders, but it is going to be an interesting one. Like thinking about the transfer windows, we've already said at the beginning of the show, we've lost Grace Donnelly from the side there. Are we going to get more keepers in? What positions do we need to recruit for? We've had a few injuries this season as well. Are we getting to the twilight for some players? So, yeah, I think our ambition is going to be telling. Are we going to be happy to stay in the championship, not just next season, but the season after? Do we want to slowly build out a strengthened squad of players who have cohesion, know each other, can make great link-ups because they can anticipate each other's play? Are we going to go for tactics? You know, it is going to be a very interesting one. I think we'll be contending next season for the title race. I really do. I say title race. It's literally, it has to be us. What can I say? I'm optimistic. We've got Mike Elliott in the chat as well. Hey, Mike. Been a while since I've shouted you out, mate. Well, the lasses have done well for their first season in Division 1 and a couple of new additions to the squad next season. Hopefully they might get promoted. Howie, the lasses. Yes, indeed. Championship, of course, was this season. So let's up the ante, see where we can get for next year. But as I've just mentioned, I do think we were in transition time. Let's have a little look. Night of Knee Gaming. Oh, that sounds like a nightmare. And that looks like a little zombie Pikachu avatar. So good for you. That's interesting. I like the macabre. I'm a fan. I'm only jesting. It's not all bad. They now have a chance to strengthen again, ready for another go at it, which means they'll be in a better position if they do get promoted. Yeah, absolutely. Very similar to what I was just mentioning there. We need to strengthen, learn those lessons. We've got Dan Brown. Good evening, Dan. Oh, the drummer pick. Yeah, yeah. I know you, like you. No, you're right, Sam. I like you even more now because you're telling me I'm right. She's not been great so far, but hopefully she'll have a better season next year. Murphy looks sharp, so yes, she does. She really does. Like she goes on fantastic runs, takes players on, just freight training it through the midfield as well. She seems quite creative as well, quite light on her feet, which I really like the look of. Oh, flip up. Who's the better signing? I'm getting ahead of myself. This is like I'm thinking, who's the better signing between Gregory and Murphy? This is like end of season show content, right? I'm gonna behave myself and pull back a little bit. Dan again. Oh, I've got loads of comments. Thank you, everybody. I think it's best we didn't go up straight away, as I think we would have struggled. In the Prem, could be another use to build season. Yeah, absolutely agree with that one as well. That's what I've just been talking about. Like next year, transition season. This has been the time to put the feelers out, like recon. We're doing recon right now to understand it. What I wouldn't like to see for the lasses is a bit like God, Crystal Palace, Exhibit A, bless them. It's so hard to get promoted. You've got to have a blinder of a season in the championship, and then you get up and get promoted, and to take devastating losses after losses. You're so excited to get there. You know it's going to be tough, but there's always belief and hope. And then to be, knocked back down again. Yeah, it is a tough one to take. I did see an interesting report, and I think I talked about it a couple of weeks ago on the show, that they're talking about not having any relegation. I believe it pertains only to the Women's Super League, but don't quote me on that. But off memory, I think that was what was being proposed, to try and give teams more chance to actually stay up and acclimatize is probably the best word for it. Getting used to it, allow them an extra season so they can strengthen squads. I think that's what it's going to take, more television rights and money from broadcasting to get into the Super League as well. Newly teams, and we're going to have to consider that. We are super fortunate because we are Newcastle United. We have got a club, despite what some fans of other teams might say, because we have Saudi ownership who've invested in the women's team substantially. And I'd really love to see, training ground facilities being built, especially for the women. We've already seen the back end. It's clear to see what the club is actually doing. So it's going to be an interesting one to see how that plays out. I don't want to have a repeat of what's happened at Crystal Palace. It's really sad. It's not good for the players. It's not good for the areas. It's not good for the supporters as well. So we're going to have to be really careful and do things right. Paul Mitchell, can he work his magic this time? Is he overstretched committing to the men's and women's team? I think it'd be interesting when we bring in the director of women's football, because I can see those responsibilities of recruitment being taken away from Mitchell. And I would agree with that. I want him to focus on the men's team, and we'll have someone to focus purely on the women's team. But that is just my opinion. Thank you, Ruffiad Bernician, for putting on there about liking and subscribing. Please do if you have not already. Lee in there, up the mags. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, my friend. What I'll do now is I will move on to the second half performance. Really early out of the gates, Joel got another shot on target, but what I particularly liked about this attempt is she actually recycled the ball. I believe it was like a first attempt off Lumsden, but it was, minutes into the second half, which was great to see because they've obviously had a really good talk at half time. Boots have been thrown across the dressing room. I'm sure Becky doesn't throw boots, but you know what I mean. The lasses came out hungry, which was really, really fantastic to see. Quickly into that, Birmingham City are well up for it as well. So it was a really entertaining match. Moan has to make like a stretch and save. really, really quite quickly as well. And I believe Cooper looked actually more lively in the second half. I don't know how everybody else feels, but I felt that she was making more interceptions. We did see a little bit of Greenwood again. I think a clearance that she made early into the second half. But I felt like we were maybe starting to make some mistakes at the back, giving the ball away quite cheaply, which was a shame as well. But out of nowhere, a goal. It's 1-1. Thank goodness for that. How did the goal occur? I believe it was Gregory. Gregory, I'm like spewing how good she is, aren't I, tonight? Anyway, Gregory draws a foul from a set piece. Oh my goodness. Just donk, like that's the best word for it. Dunks it into the top corner. Furness gets us level. Just the accuracy from Gregory to actually from a set piece just cross it over, and Furness just heads it in, and it was just absolutely superb to see. Just the execution of it was brilliant, and that speaks to probably her experience, her expertise. You know, I love what Furness actually does. I love how aggressive she is on the pitch. She does really remind me of like a white female Joe Linton. But she does. She's got that aggression about our game. She's really, really fantastic. But then getting the goal for us as well, like I said at the start of the show, against her former team, even better. I believe that was her second goal of the season as well. So brilliant, contributing. Take that all day, every day. Quickly after that, I think Lumsden did make another attempt. I think it went to Furness. It did quickly dissolve the danger, unfortunately. But still, nevertheless, going in there, I think Furness on that attempt made like this absolute ridiculous shoulder barge. I am so surprised that she didn't get a card for it. I did feel the ref was slightly inconsistent, and I do want to be fair. I think we had decisions that went against us, but the Furness shoulder barge, you wouldn't want to be on the end of it at all. At all. Did she stop the counter? Yes. Am I pleased she didn't get a card? Absolutely. And she got a goal. So fabulous. I've got nothing bad to say about her. Nothing. What I did notice, however, is, you know, I really wanted to try and focus on this a little bit more. Why are we not able to score? This has been like the golden thread throughout the season, like the clinicalness of it. Birmingham City, rightfully so, had loads of bodies back defending, and it was making us scramble in the box a little bit. And I would really like to know if anybody else noticed this. It kind of got us unhinged almost. So we're in the box. We seem to lack composure, in my personal opinion. You know, Birmingham City they were really tight. They were playing really, really concentrated. And as soon as we made a run, they were getting bodies back very, very quickly. And if we did have players in the box ready to score, we sort of lost our nerve, lost our composure a little bit, that I found. And I'm certainly going to be looking out for that in the next match. It's going to be an interesting one for me. We did see one of my favorite players come on. Jazz came on for Gregory, I believe it was. Jazz makes stuff happen. Jazz is super creative. And if it wasn't for the first half that Gregory had, I would be shouting for Jazz to come on earlier, just because I absolutely love what she does. She's quick. She's creative. She's not afraid to take players on. She intercepts. Some of our midfielders hold off a little bit on that. No, Jazz absolutely goes for it. But yeah, probably the right time. Give Gregory a little bit of a rest, because, as I said, Speedy Gonzalez during that first half. Before the game finished at 1-1, Joel had another shot that went wide. What I liked about this one, I mean, again, there's just not enough power on it. There's not enough bend on it. She tends to, you know, shoot the ball the inside of her foot with just not enough power on it. But she did turn like on a 10 pence piece to try and make that late effort on there. So credit for trying, but is there opportunities to actually look for clever passes? And I don't want to say be selfish with this one. I don't think that's the case, but this maybe for me comes down to a little bit more quick thinking, and again, down to composure in the final third. Nevertheless, upsides. I think seeing Poppy Pritchard came on. I think she was subbed for Murphy. I think Murphy went off to give Poppy some minutes, which was great. Great to see Poppy again. We did continue till the dying minutes to see, tussles in the box, really dangerous crosses coming in from Birmingham City as well. 70 minutes were on the clock at this point, and they looked more likely to score in my opinion. I thought their fitness, their endurance was brilliant. From this side, I really, really noticed their fitness and endurance. So yeah, I feel like we, in summary, really held our own. Birmingham City have been a really fantastic side this season, and it was a fantastic games for fans to watch, for neutrals as well. I think it's quite glaring where our development areas are, but we had so many positives to take away from the match as well. Our press was fantastic. Star players like Stokes taking on the captain's armband for Keegan Stubbs, obviously. Players like Murphy getting forward, Gregory as well. Lumsden is just always absolutely fantastic as well. Seeing people like Cooper get in the game, I would back Greenwood to have a little bit more. I wanted to up the ante. I think she's got more in the tank. So yeah, watching out for that one. But I will get back in the chat. I am very, very aware that my mouth is extremely dry because I could talk a glass eye to sleep right now. But let's see what folks are saying. New players still have to blend together, so it's not going to be easy. You're absolutely right, Peter. I think for me, though, have we had a little bit of time to make up those partnerships, link ups, anticipate, understand how each of us play? I think we should know that by now. But yes, we do need to blend a little bit more. I'm not sure. Do we need to blend a bit more? Do you know what? No, I disagree with you. I'm sorry. I think we do have cohesion. I think we do. I think we're losing our nerve in the final third. That's where I'm at with it. I'm sticking to my guns. I respect your opinion, but that's what I think. Let's have a look. Trevor back in the chat. I believe if we get promoted, that we don't get instant relegation. Yeah, I sort of see your point on that one, Mick. Let's have a look. Ian A. Hi, Ian, mate. Good to see you. I think if PIF will invest when we go up, and there's currently no restrictions on spending that I'm aware of. Ian, this is a very interesting point you make, and I'm aware of this also. So folks who don't know this, and please fact check Ian and I, but as far as I'm aware, PSR does not impact the academy, youth teams, or the women's teams. And I think Aran and I actually had a bit of a debate about this earlier in the season, like our play. No, early in the season review, I'll add on the end there, that why have we maybe not gone in there like Wolf of Wall Street and, scattergun the place with cash and get people in? So I do feel like the ownership is probably trying to do something with integrity here. Are we trying to sort of do things right? I would like to think so. I really would like to think so, because like the men's team, I can't wait till we're sort of competing with the biggest teams in the best leagues. That's women and men's, that's women's champion. What am I thinking of? Hey, she's got 2 weeks off and I just lose it. Champions League. Oh, got there. Women's Champions League, Men's Champions League. I want to see us competing up there across all of our teams. And so it's a little bit of a weird one, that one. I'm probably more surprised that we haven't invested more heavily in a training ground. But is that to do with the new stadium build? Is that to do with the men's new training facilities? Are we going to have something in one compound where we, have a substantial piece of land where we've got men's and women's training facilities? I don't know. I would like to think so. I would hope that we can get something like that for sure. What I do want to take you through, as ever, is a snapshot of the league standings. So we can see London City Lionesses currently in position 1 on for promotion to the Women's Super League. I'm going to give credit where it's due here. I've watched a couple of documentaries about the London City Lionesses. They've been taken over by a very wealthy female owner, and she is just plowing all sorts of money into the team signings, facilities, and it shows. Like, this is what happens when you splash cash. I don't think they've gone wild. I mean, that they've made some absolutely phenomenal international signings, which would be recognised on a global stage. I think they've brought 3 in, though. They haven't reinvigorated or rebuilt the whole squad. I can give them a pass for that. It's an independent team as well. It's not affiliated with any men's side, so that's an interesting point as well. And their ambition at the beginning of the season was to get promoted by the end of this season. So mission accomplished for them. Well done to them as well. Birmingham City, as you can see, they've in second place. And I think we held our own. Like I said earlier, I really do believe that we held our own. We did really, really well, considering where they are in the table, and them being how much is it, like 9 points ahead of us. So yeah, an interesting one anyway. Durham just pipping us to the post in 4th, unfortunately. I'm getting to dislike some of their fans, some more than the Sunderland fans, actually. Chippers will know what I'm talking about and who I'm talking about as well. What's the takeaway for me here? Portsmouth, ourselves, stay up. Sheffield have obviously been relegated and gone down, and we can see we are above Sunderland. So that's the main thing that I look out for. Yes, I'm petty. It's fine. We have rivalry. It makes it fun. It makes it interesting. Everybody just calm down. Right. Okay. Something that I did want to mention before I look to close the show. Oh, in fact, I'm not going to say that yet, because the Ruffiad Benessiad, one of our moderators, thank you for joining us this evening. And Newcastle Women's accounts are done separately to the men's accounts. Even if they weren't separate to the women's team, expenses are excluded from PSR with the academy. Thank you for validating that. Yeah, okay, cool. Thank you. I feel well. I don't understand where London and Durham get their fans from. Do you know what? I can't agree with you on Durham, Tom. I'll be honest. The sort of long-standing team. So I'll give Durham a pass. London City, yeah, I'm with you on that one. Did they do like a social media campaign? I mean, look at #United. Exhibit A. They've obviously got like social media extraordinaire, but yeah, like I mean, we're saying they've got fans. I mean, if there was a barometer of fans, there would be, their fans, there would be Toon fans. It's a completely different stratosphere of anything else. Oh, Wonder Woman. Mwah. Love you. Love you. The thing that I did want to mention before I close the show, it just came out before I came on the show live. So unfortunately, I don't have anything prepared to show you. But from one of the leagues, like women's leagues, Wolverhampton Wanderers, please get in the chat if people have heard this. I'm thinking this can't be true. Apparently, they've absolutely smashed their league. We're going for promotion this season into the Women's Championship. They've done an absolutely amazing, phenomenal job, apparently. Yet Wolverhampton have not submitted their application for them to be promoted. So irrespective of what they've done and how they've performed, Wolves didn't do the admin, didn't submit the paperwork, and now the women's team cannot be promoted despite their efforts. What adds serious injury to this is that they were celebrating, like, "Oh, we've done fantastic. This is amazing." Told after thinking they'd won the league, like, "Yeah, you've won the league." Bit of news for you lasses. We didn't file the paperwork, so you can't be promoted. Now, for me, this is bureaucracy at its very, very worst. If you are punishing the fans, punishing the lasses who've put their blood, sweat, and tears into getting promoted, my goodness, like this is appalling, absolutely appalling. Like, I, for one, would have no issue whatsoever with them being promoted over a piece of bloody paper. It's ridiculous. Like, yes, their club has had an absolute castor, which I think speaks to not only the club's ambition, but actually speaks to how much notice their club pay attention to the women's team. It's just horrendous. It's just horrendous. So yeah, a really interesting one for people to mull over and to consider. I would really like to think that that decision would be overturned. The short time that I did have before the show, I did a little bit of reading on this. Apparently, you have to submit an application. You have to for club sustainability. So they'll look into the club's accounts to make sure that it's sustainable. That being said, last season we saw, I believe it was Tom will probably know, Lawrence, you might know as well. I think it was Reading last season, um, who actually had to just drop out of leagues because it wasn't sustainable because they didn't have any money anymore. So we know that that happens. That's just the way of life. Like with normal jobs, you get fired from normal jobs. You're out on your ass, you go and get a new job. Like I I'm making this in very, very simple terms. But I think if those lasses who'd fought all season to get promoted, to do what they love to do, would you take that over just somebody doing an audit to say that your club's got the right finances? Would you take the risk to play for your team? You could be dropped from the team. You could be sold from your team. What's that got to do with the price of rice? Yes, Tom, Reading dropped out. I thought it was. Exactly. That is my personal feelings on this anyway. Anywho, folks, she's thirsty. She's tired. I hope you've enjoyed the show. I'm sorry I've had to do it by myself, but needs must, needs must. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. Thank you for getting in the chat because I would have been lost without you tonight and having people to bounce off. So really, really thank you so much. Like the Ruffiad is saying here, please do drop us a like before you drop off and leave us tonight, folks. Subscribe if you would like as well. Thank you, Chippers, for welcoming me back. Julie, very much appreciated. Cheers to all our mods, of course, our channel sponsor, the record skipped. Way! Mama Roo Records. Thank you for your sponsorship. Really appreciate it. And thank you as ever for everybody who's either joining us tonight in a live or watching this back on record. But in the meantime, thank you for joining and how are the lads and lasses.
Come back and check out some green.